Yo, LeBron, you and Drake used to go on two-mans. You've been cheating on your wife. Drake used to facilitate the and basically, essentially, you can't dance to a song about him being a he used to supply you with the
LeBron James and Drake, two kings in their own lanes, one ruling the court, the other running hip-hop charts. For years, these two had a bond that felt unbreakable, almost like brothers chasing greatness at the same time. But today, that friendship looks more like a battlefield, tangled in betrayals, sneak disses, and rumors nobody saw coming. To really understand how it all fell apart, you gotta rewind to the very beginning when Drake was still a hungry rapper trying to make his name known.
I've been knowing Drake since 2007. We've grown closer and closer every year. I'm proud of who he is today, not only as an artist, not only as a son, but as a father. You know, he's one of the biggest stars that we have on this planet right now. And it's just because of who he is and his hard work and dedication to his craft. So.
Back in February 2009, Drake dropped his breakout mixtape, So Far Gone. This project had hits like Best I Ever Had and Successful that made him one of the hottest names in hip-hop overnight. That same year, a young LeBron James was already in his 6th NBA season, MVP trophy in hand, but still chasing that first championship ring. Both men were at the edge of superstardom, Drake on the mic, LeBron on the court, and it just so happened their paths crossed in a way that gave their bond extra weight.
The moments for me in my career was when you showed up to the So Far Gone party in Toronto. Not to be like overly sentimental, but we're brothers and we're friends, but you're one of the biggest inspirations, period. And
as a hip-hop historian who loves hip-hop, I would love for you to respond.
Of course, we want to hear it.
I did, by the way. I did, by the way.
Yeah,
you wrote the song. I did, and I said terrible things.
Yeah, I said, I want you.
At Drake's mixtape release party in Toronto, LeBron pulled up. For Drake, it wasn't just a celebrity showing up, it was the moment. Years later, Drake admitted that LeBron's presence at that club made him the biggest artist in his city. That's how much influence LeBron had, and Drake never forgot it. That night planted the seed of a friendship that would grow strong. Drake saw LeBron not just as a superstar, but as someone who inspired him. And LeBron respected Drake's hustle, calling him family. They began hanging out at clubs, showing up at each other's events, and publicly hyping each other up whenever they had big wins. LeBron even had Drake on the soundtrack to his documentary More Than a Game, alongside legends like Kanye West, Eminem, and Lil Wayne.
I didn't want to further your reputation or your career by rapping back at you and having this exchange, and that was it for me.
Drake takes you and like, am I letting you down?
Yeah, what'd I tell you?
What did you say to him?
You said that I can never let you down.
For Drake, being tied into that circle was priceless. It put him shoulder to shoulder with giants. And if you fast forward a little, the bond kept growing. By 2010 and 2011, they weren't just party friends. They were texting each other motivational messages before games. Drake would send LeBron lines like, "Tonight is your night," hyping him up before he went to battle on the court. And LeBron loved it, saying they were on the same wavelength. Both of them were young, ambitious, and climbing toward GOAT status. But here's where things get interesting, because while Drake was showing LeBron nonstop love, some people noticed LeBron wasn't always as vocal about Drake. Sure, he called him family. Sure, he pulled up for support. But Drake was on another level of devotion. He tattooed LeBron's jersey number on his arm. He constantly shouted him out in interviews. Every time LeBron reached a milestone, Drake made sure the world knew he was celebrating too. This energy wasn't always equally returned, and fans noticed. Still, the good vibes kept rolling. By 2012, LeBron won his first ring with the Miami Heat, and who was right there courtside? Drake. Even when security tried to block him from the locker room, Drake wasn't leaving. He wanted to celebrate like he was part of the team. Around the same time, another storm was brewing in hip-hop. Kendrick Lamar dropped Good Kid, Massachusetts, AD City in 2012, instantly being labeled a classic. LeBron, ever the hip-hop historian, quickly became a massive Kendrick supporter. He was tweeting about Kendrick, showing up at his concerts, and praising him like crazy. This set the stage for what would later tear things apart. LeBron's loyalty to the culture versus his loyalty to Drake. And Drake, he felt that sting. Remember, he always treated LeBron like family, but now LeBron was hyping up his biggest rap rival. Then came 2013, the year of the infamous Control verse. Kendrick called out every rapper in the game, Drake included, saying he was coming for the crown. Most rappers were heated. Drake didn't hide his annoyance either, throwing shots back in interviews and music. But LeBron, he loved it. He tweeted, "This is real hip-hop at its best," praising Kendrick for the exact verse that lit up Drake's career with tension. That was one of the first visible cracks in the LeBron-Drake friendship. Drake might have brushed it off publicly, but deep down, he had to feel some type of way about his brother cheering for his rival. Still, business and love for the game kept them tied together. In 2015, Drake even brought LeBron to a charity kickball game in Toronto, though the rain shut it down. And at concerts, Drake would bring LeBron on stage to hype with him, dancing to lines like, "I can't trust nobody," lyrics that almost foreshadowed the cracks ahead. Fans laughed when Drake even tried to kiss Rihanna in public and failed, but behind the scenes, he kept showing LeBron the highest praise. When LeBron hit 30,000 career points in 2018, Drake compared it to his own record-breaking music success, writing, "Congrats, King Sameses." By now, it looked like the bond was bulletproof, two kings growing side by side, even working on joint business ventures. They co-produced documentaries, launched projects together, even toyed with sports investments like AC Milan. To cement his admiration, Drake tattooed LeBron's high school jersey image on his arm. But behind all the smiles and public brotherhood, tension was building. Because LeBron wasn't just vibing with Drake anymore, his love for Kendrick was growing too. And when the biggest beef in modern hip-hop broke out between Drake and Kendrick, LeBron would have to pick a side. And the choice he made sent shockwaves through both their worlds. When Kendrick Lamar dropped that Control verse, Drake was already feeling the pressure, but the years that followed made things worse. See, LeBron wasn't just a casual fan of Kendrick, he was his loudest supporter. By 2016, LeBron was tweeting at Kendrick to release his untitled, unmastered songs after his Grammy performance. And guess what? Kendrick actually listened. He dropped 7 tracks at LeBron's request, calling it Family Ties. That's the same kind of language LeBron once used for Drake, but now it was being thrown at his rival. Imagine how Drake felt seeing his so-called brother hyping up the very man threatening his throne in rap. But LeBron wasn't stopping there. He called Kendrick an unbelievable talent and said his story about growing up in the inner city hit home for him. That connection was personal, deeper than just music. And while Drake bragged about them both rising at the same time, LeBron seemed to find a different kind of reflection in Kendrick's music. This shift wasn't lost on fans or on Drake. By now, their friendship started looking more like Drake worshiping LeBron, while LeBron spread his love across the culture, showing extra passion for Kendrick. Fast forward a bit and the cracks became clear. In 2018, Drake was flying high off God's plan, breaking streaming records. At the same time, LeBron hit 30,000 career points and Drake celebrated him on Instagram saying Samesies. But only a few months later, Kendrick dropped Damn and then Not Like Us years later, records that would flip the script. And where was LeBron? Dancing, vibing, and singing those tracks word for word. For Drake, this wasn't just casual fandom, it felt like betrayal. Let's rewind though, because another key player entered the picture before Kendrick fully took over. Pusha T. Back in 2018, Pusha exposed Drake's hidden child on the story of Adidon. That bombshell could have destroyed Drake completely, and all eyes turned to LeBron to see where he stood. Did he back his brother Drake, or did he stay quiet like he did during the Control verse drama? Surprisingly, LeBron actually gave Drake the platform on his show The Shop to air his side of the story. That was a major favor, giving Drake space to do damage control. But even then, fans felt LeBron wasn't all in the way Drake always was for him. Around this time, Drake went all in on proving his loyalty. He tattooed LeBron's high school jersey image on his arm, a wild move that had the internet talking. But what did LeBron do in return? Nothing close. He didn't get a Drake tat, didn't call Drake his brother in every interview. Instead, he kept showering love on Kendrick. And when Kendrick dropped music that took shots at Drake, LeBron knew the lyrics word for word almost immediately, something fans pointed out since LeBron usually misquotes songs. This wasn't by accident. LeBron made it clear. He was tuned in to Kendrick. Drake couldn't hide his frustration. In music, he began changing lyrics that once name-dropped LeBron, flipping lines to distance himself. Even more telling, he eventually covered up that LeBron tattoo with another ball player's ink. That's not a small move. That's permanent proof of a friendship gone sour. But the drama didn't stop at music. Behind the scenes, whispers started spreading about what Drake and LeBron allegedly got up to at parties in Toronto. DJ Academics, messy as ever, hinted that Drake used to throw parties where he'd find women for LeBron, even suggesting it put LeBron's marriage at risk. These were only allegations, but when Academics is mad, he talks reckless, and these claims added gasoline to the fire. Especially when LeBron's wife Savannah was later caught happily singing along to Not Like Us, the very diss that painted Drake in the worst light of his career. And speaking of that track, Kendrick's Not Like Us became the anthem of the beef, a record that didn't just clown Drake but buried him in front of the culture. And what did LeBron do? He danced to it, smiled with his wife, and even showed up at Kendrick's pop-out concert, celebrating the very man who declared war on his old friend. Drake noticed. He even liked an Instagram post showing LeBron singing Not Like Us, a passive-aggressive move that let the world know he wasn't happy. It all started snowballing. Drake unfollowed LeBron on Instagram. He covered up the tattoo. He dropped bars about someone switching sides, abandoning traditions, and even hinted at tarnishing LeBron's public image. These weren't subliminals. They were thinly veiled shots straight at LeBron. One leaked freestyle had him rap about, "God forbid we ever have to tarnish your public image," a direct threat considering LeBron's squeaky clean reputation. Drake was making it clear, if you turn your back on me, I can air your secrets too. And that's when fans started piecing everything together. LeBron's constant love for Kendrick, the dancing at Not Like Us, the party allegations, and Drake's increasingly bitter lyrics. This wasn't just about music, it was personal. The same man who once said LeBron's presence at a party made him the biggest artist in the city was now plotting bars about ruining him. The bromance had become a cold war, and the world was watching to see who would blink first. By the time Kendrick's Not Like Us had the whole culture chanting against Drake, LeBron's role in the story went from silent supporter to full-blown headline. Videos of him and Savannah dancing to the record popped up everywhere, and Drake couldn't hide his anger anymore. Remember, Drake had spent over a decade calling LeBron his brother, building business ventures with him, and even tattooing his high school jersey on his arm. But now, his so-called brother was vibing to the diss track that branded him in the worst way possible. To Drake, that was beyond disrespect. It was betrayal. That frustration started spilling into the public. On social media, Drake quietly unfollowed LeBron. In the music, he made slick changes, like flipping his old lyric from "I go from 6 to 23 like I'm LeBron" into "How I go from 6 to 23 but not LeBron." Those little edits said a lot. And then came the ink. Drake literally covered up his LeBron tattoo, replacing it with another player. That move was petty, permanent, and impossible to ignore. Fans who had watched their friendship for over a decade instantly knew this bond was officially broken. But Drake wasn't done. He started firing off subtle warnings through leaked freestyles and references in songs. One of the most telling moments came from a track called Fighting Irish Freestyle, where he rapped, "God forbid we ever have to tarnish your public image." The words hit heavy. LeBron has one of the cleanest reputations in sports. A family man, a role model, a global brand. For Drake to even suggest tarnishing that, it showed how personal the betrayal felt. He even reminded LeBron of their roots, referencing the 6 Degrees Club where LeBron attended his So Far Gone release party, saying those humble beginnings meant everything. Now all that history was being weaponized in bars. And behind the curtain, things got even messier. Leaked DMs started surfacing, including messages between Drake and Academic's infamous Grand Wizard page. Those leaks revealed Drake venting about LeBron, mocking him for dancing to Not Like Us, and joking that LeBron's team had nothing left to do but dance. That alone showed Drake was watching everything LeBron did, keeping receipts on his every move. But it didn't stop there. Another leaked DM had Drake comparing his lawsuit against Universal Music Group to a campaign about LeBron cheating on his wife. Out of nowhere, Drake used LeBron's marriage as an example, saying it would be like Nike sponsoring rumors of infidelity. It was a wild comparison, one that had fans scratching their heads. Why bring up LeBron's personal life while defending a music lawsuit? Some saw it as a slip, others as a calculated threat. Either way, it added fuel to whispers about those Toronto party allegations, where Academics hinted that Drake and LeBron used to link up and find women together. Now, whether those claims hold any truth or not, the timing was suspicious. Drake's bars, his tattoo cover-up, the unfollows, the leaks. It all painted a picture of a man who felt betrayed and was ready to flip the script on his former brother. And with Savannah James happily singing along to Kendrick's diss, it added a whole other layer. Fans couldn't help but wonder, did she know something deeper about Drake and LeBron's bond? Was her energy at those parties connected to those rumors? It became gossip fuel for the culture. Meanwhile, LeBron kept playing it cool. Publicly, he never said a bad word about Drake. He never clapped back. Instead, he did what he always does, supported the music he loved. When Drake dropped push-ups, LeBron tweeted about two heavyweights doing what they do best, even throwing fire emojis at Drake's track. But that didn't stop him from showing the same love to Kendrick, from dancing to Not Like Us to popping up at the Pop-Out concert. LeBron positioned himself as a fan of the culture, refusing to pick sides, but to Drake, neutrality wasn't loyalty. Neutrality felt like betrayal, and that's the heart of it. Drake expected undying loyalty. He saw their relationship as family, as brotherhood, something sacred, but LeBron saw himself as a hip-hop historian, someone who supported all great artists, not just one. That difference in perspective turned their friendship into a casualty of rap's biggest beef. And as more leaks poured out, the darker the fallout looked. Because let's be real, Drake didn't just hint at tarnishing LeBron's image for no reason. Those bars about checking up on my son like a pediatrician, the mentions of trading watches, the references to their summer traditions in Toronto, all of it showed how close they really were. Drake was reminding LeBron and the world that their bond went way beyond casual friendship. This wasn't just business. It wasn't just music. To Drake, it was personal. And when personal bonds break, that's when the ugliest secrets threaten to come out. The craziest part, these warnings weren't even meant for the public at first. Many of them came from leaks, songs and DMs Drake never officially released, which makes it even scarier because it showed what he was saying in private. And once private frustration becomes public ammo, the war is already halfway started. Fans began speculating if Drake would ever actually expose LeBron or if it was all just lyrical threats. But either way, the damage was done. Their brotherhood was dead, replaced by mistrust, rumors, and unfinished business. By the time the dust settled, the brotherhood between Drake and LeBron was nothing more than memories. What started in 2009 with that iconic So Far Gone party had turned into a messy saga of broken trust, sneaky shots, and silent tension. And the wildest part, both men still sit on top of their worlds. LeBron is breaking records on the court, rewriting NBA history with every season. Drake is breaking Billboard charts, running the numbers like no rapper before him. Yet, when you line their timelines side by side, it's hard not to notice the irony. Whenever one of them hit a milestone, the other wasn't far behind. They rose together, but they fell apart in public. 2023 and 2024 showed that clearer than ever. LeBron became the NBA's all-time leading scorer, cementing his legacy as a once-in-a-lifetime athlete. At the very same time, Drake was breaking Michael Jackson's record for #1 hits and setting the bar with the highest-grossing rap tour in history. On paper, it looked like they were still on the same wavelength, two kings dominating their lanes. But behind the scenes, the cracks were wide open. Instead of celebrating side by side, LeBron was vibing to Kendrick's diss songs, and Drake was dropping subtle warnings in bars. The love turned into tension, and the tension turned into threats. And the fans felt it heavy. People who once loved seeing Drake courtside at Bronny's games or LeBron dancing on stage with Drake at concerts now had to pick sides in a cold war. Some fans said LeBron was just being real. He's a hip-hop head, so why wouldn't he celebrate Kendrick if the music was fire? Others said he crossed a line. If you've got a brother, you don't dance to the diss track that's tearing him apart, especially in front of cameras. Meanwhile, Drake's response only added to the drama. Covering up the tattoo, unfollowing LeBron, and leaking bars about tarnishing your public image, it felt like a rapper scorned, not just a friend hurt. But here's where it gets darker, because there are still unanswered questions. Did Drake know something about LeBron that he's holding back? That line about tarnishing a public image wasn't light. LeBron has built his brand as one of the cleanest athletes ever, a model father, husband, and leader. If Drake really wanted to, could he expose something damaging, or was he just bluffing out of anger? Then there's the academics angle. His wild claims about Drake and LeBron's Toronto parties only fueled the gossip, especially when paired with Drake's lawsuit comments about Nike funding a campaign about LeBron cheating on his wife. These weren't accusations shouted by random trolls. They came from Drake's own words, whether leaked or intentional. That makes people wonder, is there more to this story than either side wants to admit? Savannah James added another twist too. She wasn't just ignoring the noise. She was front and center, smiling, dancing, and singing Not Like Us right beside LeBron. To some, that looked like a happy wife supporting her man's love for music. To others, it looked like a woman enjoying a record that painted Drake as the villain. Either way, her energy made it clear the James family isn't worried about Drake's feelings. That in itself told fans this relationship was finished. The irony is, despite all this, Drake and LeBron still orbit each other's worlds. They've got shared business ties, past collaborations, and too much history to act like strangers. But the vibe has changed forever. The smiles, the brother talk, the mutual celebrations, it's all been replaced by passive-aggressive shade, petty moves, and unspoken tension. And if you really listen to Drake's leaked tracks, you can tell he took it personal. He wasn't just mad about Kendrick, he was mad about LeBron choosing culture over loyalty. What does that mean for their legacies? For LeBron, honestly, not much. He's a basketball god, and as long as he keeps breaking records, the music world drama won't touch his crown. For Drake, it's different. The Kendrick beef hurt his rep in hip-hop, and losing LeBron's public support didn't help. Seeing your brother dancing to the track that killed your image, that's a wound fans won't forget. Some even say Drake lost not just the battle with Kendrick, but also the bond that made him look bigger outside of rap. That bromance with LeBron added credibility. Without it, he looks more isolated, but maybe that's the point. Drake always thrived on being the lone wolf, the underdog turned superstar. If this chapter proves anything, it's that even the biggest friendships can break when egos, loyalty, and culture collide. Drake and LeBron's story isn't just about music or basketball. It's about how fame twists relationships, how one man's love for the culture can clash with another man's demand for loyalty. And the million-dollar question, will Drake ever really go through with those bars about tarnishing LeBron's image? Or will they both keep it tucked away, pretending nothing happened, while the world reads between the lines? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, this isn't the fairy tale friendship it started as in 2009. This is hip-hop history now, a cautionary tale of two kings whose bond couldn't survive the battlefield of rap.